Welcome to the Afterspin, opinions from thought leaders in our state. I want to ask Bob Orr and Howard Lee. The recent Elon University poll, which, by the way, I commend to your reading, found bipartisan support for raising the state's minimum wage from the current $7.25 an hour. Now, about a third, including more of the Republicans, favored raising it up to a level as high as $10. Some 14% favored a raise up to $12 an hour, and some 31% favored raising it from $12 to $15 an hour, with Democrats more heavily on the $12 to $15 raise. Should it be raised? If so, how much, and when should we do it, Bob?
Well, I would say it should be raised. I do think in the context of the economic challenges that the coronavirus situation is presenting, the decision should go slowly and maybe in a progressive way, not immediately jumping to the highest figure. But if you think even at $10 an hour and you're working a 40-hour week, that's $400 a week before anything's taken out of it. It may be fine if you're a high school student or a college student, but think about someone trying to support a family or
and we talked about the issue of affordable housing. If affordable housing is 30%, you can afford 30% of what you're making in affordable housing on $10 an hour. You ain't going very far.
No, it's a difficult issue, but I think was it Andrew Yang that has the proposal for a guaranteed income?
$1,000.
Yeah. But I mean, I think you don't want to put people in a work situation where, they're just working to be in poverty,
Yeah. Howard, you've been a small businessman for much of your life, and a raise in the minimum wage usually is accompanied by a corresponding raise in the cost of pricing to customers and so forth. What's your take on all of this minimum wage business?
Oh, I strongly favor it, although I think it's more symbolic than it is substantive, because there aren't many small businesses even that can retain or hire people for the $7.25 an hour. Even when I was in business, and that's been 20 years ago now, we were paying $10 and $12 an hour to try to hold people, and then that was not sufficient to keep good employees. I think it's important for people to have a livable wage, because if not, their mind's not going to be on what they're doing in the responsibility they're being offered, and they tend to get the feeling that you don't really value them and the services they're offering. So I think it is important for us to recognize that currently, even today, small businesses are paying closer to the $12 an hour than they are the $7.25 an hour.
But having been a small businessman for many, many years, I don't think necessarily employees or the public understands the squeeze that gets put on in profitability for small businesses.
It does, but I think we are living in a time when we have to recognize that large corporations tend to take advantage of people's skills and work, and the greed at the top, to me, is just absolutely unacceptable.
Yeah, different issue altogether, but I agree with you.
And I really think that people need to recognize that you adjust according to what your needs are, and you adjust according to what you have to do, and to at least have some law on the book that says this is the floor below which we will not fall is probably the most important symbol that we can put out.
You talk about that executive pay. In 1980, I think it was, the average CEO was earning something like 40 times as much as the average employee. Today, it's like 200 times.
So I think that's ridiculous.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. So, Bob, the question is going to be before the legislature. They're going to have to decide whether to raise this minimum wage or not, particularly, as you said, in the environment we're in with coronavirus. Do you think there's going to be any appetite for doing anything about this in this short session?
Well, I think the key may be if the business community, both large and small, tells the legislature, we need to do it. We need to raise it. $7.25 is just ridiculously low. And so the legislature responds to what the voters, the public, the business community advocates for and pushes. So I think we need to get the business community saying, Yeah, sure. We're going to have to maybe pass the cost along. It may cut a little into profits, but this
That
is
doesn't
the right
usually
thing to
happen
do.
from the business community, does it?
It doesn't, but I think what's so encouraging about this poll is that there is bipartisan support for making the change. And with that kind of bipartisan support and, of course, engagement in discussions with businesses, it could happen. I play golf with the president of the chamber occasionally, Lou Ebert, and Lou is always talking about how we need to better substantiate and support our businesses, and he thinks that they're open for reasonable change. And
while we're on this subject, I want to commend to our viewers this Elon poll. Lots of polls want to tell you how are the candidates ranking in particular elections. This was more of a lifestyle poll that Elon conducted. I thought it was a very good insight into where North Carolina is right now. So if you get a chance, go to their Elon University poll site and read the results of this poll. Well, thank you for watching the After Spin. We'll have more video all during the week on ncspin.com.